The setup. The room was quiet, almost too quiet. Only the soft hum of a machine in the corner broke the silence. The air smelled faintly of medicine and old walls, the kind of smell that stays even when everything looks clean. A single light flickered above, casting long shadows that stretched across the floor. On the bed, covered with a heavy gray blanket, lay a man. His face was pale, his breathing slow but steady. At first glance, he looked like any injured soldier resting after battle. His chest rose and fell in a calm rhythm, but there was something strange about the way he lay so still, as if his body was resting, but his mind was somewhere far away. She entered the room quietly, holding a small bowl of water and a folded cloth. She was not a doctor, not a soldier, just a caretaker who wanted to help. Her task was simple: wipe his face, clean his hands, and make sure he was comfortable. Nothing more. She had done this many times before. Yet as she stepped closer to the bed, a strange feeling crept into her chest. It was as if the air itself was heavier here, pressing down on her shoulders. She glanced at him. His eyes were closed, his skin pale against the blanket. He looked harmless, even fragile. She told herself there was nothing to fear. Still, her heart beat a little faster as she placed the bowl on the table beside the bed. The caretaker dipped the cloth into the cool water and wrung it out. With slow, gentle movements, she touched it to his forehead. The water slid across his skin, leaving a faint shine. His face did not move, no reaction. She relaxed a little, telling herself that he was simply asleep. But then, it happened. The blanket moved, just a small shift, like the twitch of a muscle beneath the fabric. She froze. Her eyes locked onto the spot near his chest where the blanket had stirred. At first she thought it was him breathing deeper, but the rhythm of his chest was steady. This movement was not the same. Her fingers tightened around the wet cloth. She waited, holding her breath, watching carefully. Nothing happened. The blanket was still again. Maybe she imagined it. Maybe she was tired. She forced a small laugh at herself and shook her head. Still, the unease in her stomach did not go away. She continued wiping his face, this time more carefully, her eyes flicking back to the blanket every few seconds. His skin was warm beneath the cloth, a sign that life still burned inside him. She whispered softly, as if speaking to a child, "You're going to be all right." The words were meant for comfort, but she was not sure if she believed them. Then, just as she dipped the cloth into the bowl again, the blanket stirred once more. This time, she saw it clearly. A sharp movement, like something shifting underneath. Not slow, like breathing. Not gentle, like a dream. Something alive. Something hidden. Her throat went dry. She stepped back slightly, her eyes wide. The room felt smaller, the walls closer. She wanted to run out, call for someone else, but her feet refused to move. Curiosity battled with fear inside her. She had to know. What was under that blanket? She leaned closer, her hand trembling as she reached for the fabric. But then she stopped herself. What if it was nothing? What if she pulled the blanket back and found only his arm twitching? People would laugh at her fear. She could not allow that. Taking a deep breath, she steadied herself. "It's fine," she whispered again, though her voice was weak. She placed the cloth back on the soldier's face, forcing her hand to be calm, but her eyes stayed fixed on the blanket. The silence of the room grew heavier. Every tick of the clock sounded louder. Every shadow seemed to stretch further. Her heart pounded like a drum in her chest. She finished wiping his face and moved to his hands. She held one gently, cleaning the dirt and dried blood from his skin. His fingers were rough, marked with scars of battle. She wondered what he had seen, what he had fought, and why he now lay silent, trapped in this strange sleep. But as she worked, she could not ignore the truth. Something was wrong. She had seen the blanket move, twice, and in her gut, she knew. This was not her imagination. For a long moment, she stood frozen, cloth in hand, staring at the still figure on the bed. The man's face was calm, but beneath that blanket, something waited, something she could not explain. And though she told herself she only came here to help, A dark whisper formed in her mind. Dee, what if she uncovered something she was never meant to see? The caretaker looked at the blanket one last time. Her lips pressed into a thin line. She would have to decide soon, continue her simple task, or lift the fabric and face whatever truth lay hidden beneath. But one thing was certain. Nothing in this room was as simple as it seemed. The first sign. The caretaker did not move for a long time. She stood with the damp cloth still in her hand, her eyes locked on the blanket. The man's breathing was steady, his face calm, but the weight in the room pressed harder on her chest. She felt it. Something strange was here, something she could not name. She swallowed, trying to calm her nerves. Maybe it had only been his body shifting in sleep. Maybe it was nothing at all. She wanted to believe that, but deep inside, she knew better. Carefully, she dipped the cloth back into the bowl of water. The sound of water dripping filled the silence, sharp and loud in the still room. She wrung out the cloth and touched his forehead again, but her hand trembled. Every time she moved, her eyes darted back to the blanket, waiting, dreading. For a few minutes, nothing happened. The cloth moved across his skin, wiping away sweat and dust. Her breathing slowed, and she started to believe she had overreacted. Maybe the blanket was heavy and had simply slid a little with the air. She shook her head, forcing herself to focus. But then, without warning, the blanket stirred again. Not a small twitch, not the soft rise of breath. This time it was sharp, a ripple across the fabric, as if something underneath had pushed against it. Her heart jumped. She dropped the cloth into the bowl, water splashing onto the table. Her eyes widened. She took 2 steps back, pressing her hand to her mouth. The man did not move. His eyes remained closed, his lips silent. The blanket, however, had shifted. She was sure of it now. This was not her imagination. The caretaker's chest rose and fell in quick breaths. Fear crept up her throat, but alongside it came something else, curiosity. She wanted to run, to leave the room and never return. Yet another part of her, stronger and braver, whispered, what if he needs help? What if something is happening to him right now? Slowly, almost against her will, she stepped closer to the bed again. Her fingers hovered above the blanket. She hesitated, her heart pounding. She was afraid of what she might find if she pulled it back. But she could not look away. She whispered softly, as if speaking to the man, if you can hear me, move your hand, please. The silence that followed felt endless. Her words hung in the air, unanswered. The man remained still, breathing in the same slow rhythm. Then, another shift. The blanket bulged near his chest, rising for a second before falling flat again. This time she gasped aloud. She was certain now, something was under there, and it wasn't just his body. Her legs shook, but she refused to step back. She leaned closer, her eyes wide, her breath shallow. Her hand reached out again, her fingers brushing the edge of the blanket. She wanted to pull it back, to see, to know. But fear held her still. Instead, she listened. She tilted her head and strained her ears. For a moment, there was only silence. Then, faintly, she thought she heard something, a sound that did not belong. It was soft, almost like a hum, or a heartbeat that wasn't human. Her eyes flicked to the man's face. He looked peaceful, as if asleep, but his skin seemed paler now, his lips almost gray. Was he dying? Or was something else keeping him alive beneath that blanket? The caretaker's thoughts raced. What if it was some kind of device, hidden under the covers? Something attached to him? Or worse, what if it was alive? She shivered. The air in the room felt colder, as if the very walls were holding their breath. Her instincts told her to call for help, to run out of the room and find someone stronger, someone who could explain this. But another voice inside her argued, no, if you leave, you may never know the truth, and maybe he needs you, right now. She clenched her fists, forcing her fear down. With slow steps, she walked to the side of the bed and placed her hand on the blanket. The fabric was warm from the man's body. She pressed lightly, trying to feel what was beneath. At first, there was nothing, just the hard lines of his chest and arms. But then, movement. A small shift under her palm, like something pressing back against her. She yanked her hand away as if burned. Her eyes darted to his face again. His expression had not changed. He was still, silent, lost in his strange sleep. Her body trembled. She felt trapped in the room, torn between fear and the need to help. The blanket was no longer just a blanket. It was a barrier hiding a secret. And whatever that secret was, it was not normal. She sat down on the chair beside the bed, her knees weak. The bowl of water rippled slightly from her shaking hands. She stared at the blanket, her mind racing with questions. What was under there? Was it hurting him? Was it keeping him alive? Was it waiting? The caretaker knew one thing for certain. She could not walk away now. The moment she saw that blanket move, her life had changed. She was no longer just a helper, just a caretaker. She was now a witness to something far bigger, far stranger. The blanket stirred once more, a faint ripple across the surface, and with it, a chilling thought settled into her mind. This was only the beginning. The reveal begins. The caretaker sat frozen in the chair beside the bed. The silence in the room had turned heavy, almost alive. Every sound seemed sharper. The ticking clock, the faint hum of the machine, the drip of water still clinging to the edge of the bowl. But nothing was louder than the sound of her own heartbeat hammering in her ears. Her eyes never left the blanket. She had seen it move too many times now to doubt herself. This was no trick of the light, no accident of breath. Something was under there, something real. She pressed her trembling hands together and whispered under her breath, as if speaking the words would give her courage. You only came to help, remember? Just help him, nothing more. But the blanket rippled again, and those words lost all meaning. Slowly, she leaned forward, her body stiff with tension. She reached out one hand toward the edge of the blanket. Her fingertips brushed the fabric. It was warm, too warm, as though heat was rising not only from the soldier's body, but from something else hidden below. She froze. Her hand hovered above the cloth, then pulled back. Fear clawed at her throat. What if it's dangerous? What if pulling the blanket back sets it free? Her eyes darted to the man's face. His skin was pale, his eyes shut tight. But his lips twitched, just for a second, as though he was trying to speak in a dream. She leaned closer, desperate to hear something, anything. Say something, she whispered, her voice trembling. If you're still here, let me know. No answer, only silence. And then it came. A faint noise from beneath the blanket. Not the sound of fabric moving, not the sound of a man shifting. It was different, wet almost, a soft hum, like the slow beat of a strange heart. The caretaker's breath caught in her chest. The sound seemed to vibrate through the blanket, traveling up her arm when she touched it. Again. It was alive. Whatever it was alive. She yanked her hand away and stumbled back, her chair scraping against the floor. Her knees shook as she pressed against the wall, eyes wide, chest heaving. She wanted to scream, to run, to call for anyone at all, but her voice refused to come. Minutes passed, though to her they felt like hours. The blanket stayed still, as if mocking her fear. Finally, she forced herself forward again. She knew she couldn't stay frozen forever. Something was happening to the soldier, and she was the only one here. Whether she liked it or not, she had to face it. Step by step, she approached the bed once more. Her hand hovered above the blanket, this time at his chest where the strange pulse had come from. She pressed lightly. The shape beneath shifted, pressing back against her palm. Her stomach dropped. The surface felt hard and soft at the same time, like flesh wrapped around something metal, and it moved with purpose, like it knew she was there. She snatched her hand back again, but not before she saw something new. A faint glow seeping through the fabric, blue, like the shimmer of moonlight on water. It lasted only a second before fading. The caretaker staggered backward, nearly tipping over the chair. Her heart thundered. A glow? She hadn't imagined that. She knew what she saw. Her gaze snapped to the soldier's face again. His eyes were still closed, but his lips parted slightly, and a whisper escaped, so faint she almost missed it. "Don't take it off." The words chilled her blood. His voice was hoarse, broken, as if he hadn't spoken in days. She leaned closer, desperate for more. "What did you say? What's under the blanket? What is it?" His lips trembled, but no more words came. His face fell still again, pale and silent. The caretaker staggered back, pressing her fists to her mouth. He had spoken, but his warning only deepened the mystery. Don't take it off. Why? What was he hiding? Was it protecting him? Or was it controlling him? Her hands shook as she clutched the edge of the chair. Every instinct screamed at her to run, to leave this nightmare behind. But another voice, quieter but stronger, held her in place. "You came here to help. If you leave him now, he might die, or worse." Her eyes darted back to the glowing spot. She needed to know. With trembling fingers, she reached for the blanket again. This time she gripped the fabric firmly, her knuckles white. She took a deep breath, steadying herself. Her mind screamed warnings, but her heart refused to stop. She lifted. Only an inch, just enough to peek beneath. And what she saw made her blood run cold. Something was fused to the man's chest. Not just lying on him, fused. A living, breathing mass of silver and blue, pulsing with light. Its surface shifted like liquid metal, veins of glowing energy crawling across its skin. It looked alive, but not like any creature she had ever seen. For a second she couldn't breathe. She could only stare, frozen in shock. Then, as if sensing her presence, the thing moved. A ripple passed across its surface, and the glow brightened. It pulsed once, then again, like it was waking up. The caretaker gasped and dropped the blanket. She stumbled backward, clutching her chest, her lungs burning with fear. The blanket fell back into place, hiding the thing again, but she had seen enough, more than enough. Her body bled from head to toe. She pressed her back against the wall, sliding down until she sat on the floor, her arms wrapped around her knees. Her thoughts spun wildly. What was that thing? Why is it inside him? Is it killing him or keeping him alive? Her mind replayed his broken words. Don't take it off. Maybe he was right. Maybe removing it would kill him. But how long could he survive like this? And what if the thing was not just inside him, but becoming him? The caretaker buried her face in her hands. She had only meant to help, only meant to clean his wounds, to bring him comfort. Instead, she had uncovered something terrible, something beyond her understanding. The glow faded back into silence, hidden under the blanket. The man lay still once more, as though nothing had happened. But the caretaker knew the truth now. Nothing in this room was normal. Nothing in this room was safe. And the worst part was, she had no choice but to stay. The discovery, the caretaker could not forget what she had seen. No matter how tightly she pressed her eyes shut, the image burned behind her eyelids. That glowing silver-blue mass, alive, fused into the soldier's chest. It had pulsed like a second heart, a rhythm not human, not natural. She sat on the cold floor for a long time, hugging her knees, trying to steady her breath. Her body shook, not only from fear, but from something deeper. Uncertainty. The man had whispered to her, "Don't take it off." That warning echoed in her head again and again. He knew about it. He knew what was beneath the blanket. But if he knew, then what was it? She lifted her head slowly. The soldier lay still, his face pale, his body unmoving. At first he seemed fragile, helpless. But now, knowing what was hidden beneath, he looked different. His silence no longer felt peaceful. It felt heavy, purposeful. She stood at last, though her knees trembled. Step by step, she moved closer to the bed. The bowl of water still sat on the table, ripples frozen from when she dropped the cloth. The machine in the corner continued its steady hum, as if mocking her terror. She reached out again, her fingers brushing the blanket. This time, she did not stop. With careful, deliberate motion, she pulled it back farther. The sight made her breath hitch. The thing on his chest was clearer now. It wasn't only attached to him. It was part of him. Strands of living metal spread across his skin like veins, glowing faintly with blue light. They stretched from the central mass outward, crawling up his neck, across his shoulder, and disappearing under his arm. The caretaker's hand shook. The sight was horrifying, yet strangely beautiful. It shimmered like liquid silver, but pulsed like living flesh. Every few seconds, the glow brightened, then faded, in perfect rhythm with his breathing. She leaned closer, unable to stop herself. Her fear had not left, but curiosity now tugged harder. What was this thing? An alien parasite? A machine? A weapon? Her eyes locked on the central mass. It shifted, just slightly, as though sensing her. She flinched back, nearly dropping the blanket again. But this time, she forced herself to stay. She had to understand. She whispered, her voice trembling, "What are you?" The thing pulsed brighter, once, twice, as if answering her. Her stomach dropped. She took a step back, her chest rising and falling in quick breaths. And then, the man's eyes opened. The caretaker gasped. For a long moment, she couldn't move. His eyes were bloodshot, heavy, but they locked onto hers with startling clarity. "You saw it," he whispered. His voice was cracked, hoarse, but the words were sharp. She nodded weakly. "Yes, I didn't mean to, but I had to know." His gaze softened, but only for a moment. He coughed, his body jerking, and the thing on his chest pulsed brighter in response, as if feeding on his pain or holding him together. "You don't understand," he rasped. "It's not what it looks like." She leaned closer, desperate for answers. "Then tell me, what is it? Why is it inside you?" His eyes closed again, his head turning slightly on the pillow. "It keeps me alive," he breathed. "Without it, I'm nothing." She stared at him, her voice trembling. "Is it dangerous?" His eyes flicked open again, piercing. "To me? No. To you? Maybe." The caretaker stepped back, chills racing down her arms. "What do you mean?" He did not answer. Instead, the thing pulsed again, brighter now, as though agitated. The glow spread further, veins of light crawling higher across his skin. The caretaker stumbled back, fear gripping her chest. The machine in the corner beeped suddenly, loud and sharp. The soldier jerked, his body convulsing. His back arched and his hand clutched the sheet. The alien mass flared with light, pulsing faster and faster. "No!" the caretaker cried, rushing forward. Instinct overcame fear. She pressed her hand gently against his arm. "Stay with me, please!" The glow shifted. Where her skin touched his, the light softened, slowing its frantic pulse. Her breath caught. It responded to her. The soldier gasped, his chest rising sharply, then settling. His eyes locked on hers again, filled with both pain and relief. "It listens," he whispered. She pulled her hand back in shock. "Listens? To me?" He coughed again, shaking his head. "Not just you. To people. To feelings. It feeds on more than blood. It feeds on intent." Her skin crawled. She looked down at the shimmering mass again. It pulsed gently, calmer now, almost peaceful. She whispered, "It knew I was afraid." The soldier nodded weakly. "Yes, fear makes it stronger, but so does hope. So does kindness." The caretaker staggered back, her mind reeling. A living thing that fed on emotions? That explained why it stirred every time she was afraid, why it pressed back when she touched it. It wasn't just inside him. It was connected to him, bound to his very soul. But what did that mean for her? She glanced at his face again. He was fading, his voice softer with each word. "Don't let them take it," he murmured. "If they do, I die." And maybe more than me. Her lips parted. What do you mean? Who wants to take it? But his eyes closed again, his breathing shallow. He had said all he could. The caretaker stood in silence, staring at the man, then at the glowing veins across his skin. Her fear was still there, strong as ever, but alongside it now came something else. Responsibility. She had only meant to help. She had only meant to clean his wounds, to care for him. But now she had discovered something that could change everything. Something alive, something powerful, something dangerous. Her hand hovered above the blanket, then gently pulled it back over his chest, hiding the strange mass once more. The glow dimmed beneath the fabric, though faint traces of blue light still shone through. She whispered to herself, "What are you, really?" The room gave no answer. Only the steady hum of the machine filled the silence once more. But she knew now. This was no ordinary injury, no ordinary recovery. The man was more than human, or maybe not human at all anymore. And the secret beneath that blanket was not just his, it was now hers too. The awakening. The caretaker sat on the chair again, her hands clasped tightly in her lap. The blanket once more covered the soldier, hiding the strange, glowing mass she had seen. But the memory would not fade. The silver veins crawling across his skin. The faint hum, like a second heartbeat. The soldier's broken warning, "Don't take it off." Her thoughts spun like a storm. Every part of her wanted to believe she had misunderstood, that it was just some medical device, some piece of technology she could not recognize. But deep down, she knew the truth. Whatever it was alive. The room was too quiet now. She hated the silence. Every tick of the clock seemed to echo like a drum. Every flicker of the ceiling light made her twitch. She kept staring at the blanket, half expecting it to rise on its own. Minutes passed. The soldier remained still. His chest rose and fell, shallow, weak. She wondered if he would even make it through the night. And then it happened. A soft sound, so faint she almost missed it. A low hum, like distant thunder, coming not from the machines, but from the bed itself. The blanket shifted, rippling gently as though something inside was stirring. Her breath caught. She gripped the arms of the chair so tightly, her knuckles turned white. The hum grew louder, vibrating through the floor. The bowl of water on the table trembled, small ripples spreading across its surface. The caretaker rose to her feet, her body stiff with fear. The soldier gasped. His chest arched upward, as though invisible hands had seized him. His eyes flew open, wide, glowing faintly with the same blue light she had seen beneath the blanket. She stumbled back, her hand covering her mouth. "No! Oh no!" The glow spread quickly, veins of light crawling across his neck, his arms, his face. His skin looked almost translucent, as if something inside him was shining through. And the hum deepened into a roar, rattling the walls. The caretaker pressed against the far wall, trembling. She had wanted to understand, but now she wasn't sure she was ready. The soldier's mouth opened, a cry escaping, but it was not entirely human. The sound was layered, two voices overlapping, his own, and something else, deeper, alien. The caretaker's eyes widened in horror. He was changing. Suddenly, the glow flared so bright it hurt to look at. The blanket flew back, thrown off by a force she could not see. The alien mass was no longer still. It writhed, alive, spreading across his chest in waves of liquid metal and light. It pulsed in rhythm with his heartbeat, but faster, stronger, as if taking control. The soldier convulsed, his hands clawing at the bed. His eyes locked on the caretaker, glowing brighter, filled with pain and something unrecognizable. "Help me," he gasped. His voice cracked, broken between human and not. Her heart pounded in her ears. She wanted to run. Every instinct screamed at her to get out, but his plea rooted her to the floor. She had come to help. Could she abandon him now? She forced her legs forward, step by shaky step. She reached the bed and grasped his arm. His skin was burning hot, but the moment she touched him, the glow softened. The alien mass slowed its frantic pulsing, calming under her touch. The hum lowered, steady, almost gentle now. Her breath shook. "It listens to me," she whispered, remembering his words. "It listens." The soldier's chest heaved, his breathing ragged. His eyes flickered between glowing and normal. "Don't let it take control," he rasped. "Keep me here." The caretaker gripped his arm tighter. "I won't let it," she hit. The alien veins pulsed again, wrapping tighter around his body, crawling toward his throat and jaw. She gasped and tried to pull them back, but her fingers passed through as though it were liquid. It didn't resist her. It simply shifted, flowing around her touch. The soldier arched again, a scream tearing from his throat. The alien glow surged, filling the entire room with blue light. The ceiling lamp flickered, then shattered, plunging them into semi-darkness, lit only by the alien's glow. The caretaker stumbled, but did not let go. "Stay with me," she cried. His glowing eyes locked onto hers, desperate. "You have to anchor me. Don't be afraid." Her lips trembled. Don't be afraid? How could she not be? But she understood. Fear made it stronger. He had told her that. If she gave in to fear, the thing would consume him. She took a deep breath, forcing her shaking body to still. She pushed her fear down, reaching instead for something else. Hope, kindness. The reason she had come here in the first place. She pressed her other hand against his chest, directly over the alien mass. "I'm not afraid," she whispered. "You're not alone." The glow responded instantly. The frantic pulses slowed, steadier, calmer. The mass shivered under her palm, then softened, its light dimming to a gentle blue. The soldier gasped, his convulsions easing. His body sagged back against the bed. His eyes, still glowing faintly, focused on her. Relief washed across his face. "You did it." The caretaker collapsed into the chair again, breathless. Sweat dripped down her temples, her hands trembling from what she had just done. She looked at the strange veins crawling across his skin, now calmer, pulsing in a steady rhythm. For the first time, they did not look terrifying. They looked alive, connected. The soldier closed his eyes, breathing more evenly now. His chest rose and fell with new strength, as if the battle had passed, for the moment. The caretaker whispered, more to herself than to him, "What are you?" As if in answer, the alien mass pulsed softly under her hand, warm and steady, like a second heartbeat. She pulled her hand back slowly, staring in silence. The truth was clear now. The thing was not just inside him. It was part of him, and somehow she was part of it now, too. But even as calm settled over the room, she knew this was only the beginning. The soldier stirred weakly, his lips forming words she barely heard. "It's awake now. No going back." The caretaker froze. Awake? Her eyes darted to the glowing veins again. They pulsed steadily, almost peacefully. But beneath that calm rhythm, she sensed something vast, something dangerous, something waiting. And deep inside, she realized a terrible truth. Whatever had awakened inside this man was watching her too. The turning point. The room had gone quiet again, but the silence was no longer comforting. It was heavy, thick, filled with tension. The caretaker sat on the chair, her breath still unsteady from what had just happened. The soldier lay on the bed, his chest rising and falling with more strength now, but his body was still half covered by the alien veins glowing faintly beneath the blanket. She kept staring at him, then at the strange living mass. It was calmer now, yes, but she could not shake the feeling that it was not just resting. It was waiting. The soldier's eyes fluttered open. They glowed faintly in the dim room, catching the blue light that crawled through his veins. His voice was low, cracked, but stronger than before. "You need to listen," he whispered. The caretaker leaned closer, gripping the arm of the chair. I'm listening. He took a shuddering breath. It's not just keeping me alive. It's learning. Every moment, every thought, every feeling, it learns. It remembers. Her stomach twisted. She thought of how it had pulsed in response to her touch, how it had calmed when she pushed down her fear and replaced it with courage. It listens to emotions, she murmured. He nodded weakly. Yes, but that's not all. It adapts. It bonds. And once it chooses someone, it doesn't let go. Her breath caught. She glanced at his chest where the alien shimmered faintly. It chose you. His eyes locked onto hers. And now, it has seen you too. Her body went cold. She pushed back against the chair, her heart racing. No, she whispered. No, I didn't ask for this. I didn't want this. He coughed, shaking his head. You don't get to choose. It already knows you. It felt you. That bond cannot be undone. The caretaker stood quickly, backing away from the bed. Her hands trembled as she pressed them to her chest. No, I came to help you, nothing more. This is mine. It's yours. The veins across his chest pulsed, brighter now, as if answering her. A low hum filled the air again, the sound vibrating through the walls. The caretaker froze, her breath catching. The soldier's face twisted in pain. It's waking again. It can feel your fear. She shook her head quickly. I'm not afraid. But the lie tasted bitter in her mouth. Her trembling hands betrayed her. The hum deepened. The glow spread across his body faster, crawling like liquid fire. His back arched, his fingers clawed at the sheets. The alien mass pulsed wildly, feeding on her fear. The caretaker's chest heaved. She forced herself forward, gripping his arm again. Stop! Stay here! Don't let it take you! The glow slowed slightly under her touch, but not enough. His glowing eyes snapped open, wide, almost wild. You have to choose, he gasped. Run or stay. If you stay, it will never let you go. Her heart pounded in her ears. Run. The word echoed inside her head. She could turn and leave right now. She could escape this nightmare, shut the door, and never look back. But as she looked at him, she saw more than the alien veins, more than the glowing eyes. She saw a man caught between life and death, between human and something else. And she saw the fear in his face, the fear that she would leave him alone in this battle. She clenched her fists. I'm not leaving you. The alien mass reacted instantly. The glow shifted, softening, slowing. The hum grew gentler. The soldier's breathing steadied. His eyes flickered, relief washing over them. But the caretaker felt something else, deep inside her chest. A weight, heavy and warm, pressing against her heart. She stumbled, gasping, clutching her chest. The soldier saw it. His face paled. It's bonding, he whispered. Her knees buckled. She fell against the chair, her hands digging into the wood. The weight inside her spread, not painful, but undeniable. She felt a faint rhythm echoing her own heartbeat, like a second pulse inside her body. No, she gasped. No, this isn't possible. The soldier reached toward her, his hand trembling. It's too late. It knows you now. You're a part of this, just like me. Her vision blurred for a moment. She saw flashes, images that weren't hers. Dark skies lit by fire, strange creatures with eyes like stars, a battlefield filled with screams, then silence broken by a hum, the same hum that filled the room now. She jerked back, gasping for air. The visions vanished. She stared at her hands, trembling. What was that? What did I see? The soldier's voice was weak, almost broken. It's memories. It's past. It doesn't just bond with the body, it bonds with the mind. The caretaker shook her head violently. No, I can't. I don't want this. The alien glow pulsed brighter, as though feeding on her denial. The hum grew louder, rattling the windows. The soldier groaned, his body tensing. You have to control it, he shouted weakly. If you don't, it will take both of us. Her chest heaved, her mind screaming. She dropped to her knees beside the bed, pressing her hands firmly against his chest, over the alien mass. "I'm not afraid," she whispered, forcing her voice steady. "You won't take him. You won't take me." The glow flared. For a moment it felt like fire under her hands. But she pushed harder, not with strength, but with will. She forced her fear down, reaching for the same courage that had calmed it before. Hope. Kindness. The reason she was here. The alien pulsing slowed. The hum softened, fading into a steady thrum. The blue glow dimmed, retreating slowly beneath his skin. Her breath came heavy, sweat dripping down her face. She sagged forward, her forehead nearly touching his chest. The soldier's breathing steadied. His glowing eyes softened, relief washing over him. "You did it again," he murmured. The caretaker staggered back, falling onto the floor. Her body felt heavy, her chest aching with that strange second heartbeat. She stared at the man, then at the faint glow beneath the blanket. Her voice cracked. "It's inside me too now, isn't it?" He closed his eyes slowly. "Yes. And now? You can't run, even if you want to." She pressed her trembling hands to her chest. The weight inside her pulsed softly, warm and strange. She knew he was right. She was bound to it now. Bound to him. The caretaker leaned back against the wall, her mind a storm of fear and questions. She had only meant to help. She had only meant to clean his wounds, to bring him comfort. But now, she was part of something far larger, far stranger. And as the glow pulsed faintly in the darkness, she knew her life would never be the same again.